Hi everyone, Tammy here, and today we're going to be taking a bit of a spin. We're going to talk about mindsets that multiply. It's not just enough to know about the law. I want you to know what tools you need to succeed. So stay tuned. We're about to jump in. Okay? All right, welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Tammy's here. And I wanted to think about a couple of things for my entrepreneurs and even attorneys who are listening in. I know I get a ton of folks who come across the videos, and we talk about LLCs, we talk about trademarks, we talk about what we can do to protect our brands. But there's one thing that I realized, that it doesn't matter how many strategies or tools you get, mindsets actually make the biggest difference, because they teach you how to navigate the tools that are put into your hands. And so today I wanted to take a moment to talk about two particular mindsets or traits that I think really impact and influence your ability to multiply what you have. All right. So the first one that I want us to talk about is the mindset of resourcefulness. All right. And so there's a leader I follow, Dr. Darius Daniels, and he has this thing called Traits of the Great, and he talks about a number of these. And I think resourcefulness is one of them. And I thought back to kind of my journey as an entrepreneur and my journey as an attorney. And one of the things that I've found is that I can say that I've seen resourcefulness help me multiply what I have. Let me take you back a couple of years when I first launched my law firm. Listen, I had no business experience. Before I was an attorney, I was a teacher. So one of the things you learn how to do as a teacher is you learn how to create things out of nothing, because you're not getting paid a lot. You're depending on where you're teaching, your students aren't necessarily coming in with a lot of things. I taught in a low income neighborhood, and you have to kind of figure out how you're going to make do, and how you're going to make do for a number of kids, a number of tasks. And it's kind of like, okay, how can I navigate this? And so I've learned how to create things. Let's say I want a particular aesthetic, or I want a feel in terms of my branding, or I want something in terms of my business. Now, I'm not a millionaire's child. Hopefully my children will be, children of millionaires, but I'm not a millionaire's child. I'm grateful my parents have always done what they could to take care of me, I and my siblings. But, we have to work for what we have. And so one of the things that I've had to do is go back and say, okay, this is what I have right now. This is how much money I have. This is how much time I have. How can I make it work? And I think that's the essence of this mindset. It's having this thought process. I will make what I have work. See, my mom was always of the notion, and she still teaches this, her kids have stuff, in the sense that we are not going to go and beg other people. We're going to look at what we have and see how we can use it and utilize it. So what did this look like for me in practice? When I first got started with these videos here on YouTube, right? I didn't have the fanciest things. I did get people to help me. So I got someone who gave me their old microphone, and I used it. And I had some money, so I bought a regular web camera. So nothing fancy, Logitech camera, and that was basically it. And so I wanted to make my videos feel different. There's an aesthetic, there's a way. I'm a professional. I like my things to look professional, but I didn't have professional money, even though I was an attorney. We'll get into that story at another time. But I didn't have the funds to employ someone to help me create what I saw in my head. So I started to think, okay, what do I have access to? Well, I have this old laptop, but I can navigate things. Nobody can take away my ability to learn, right? I have access to the internet. I have that ability, and I have time because I don't have clients. I didn't have clients at the time, or I didn't have that many clients. So I had more time than I had money. And it was okay, let me assess the resources that I have. So I think that's the first step. Assess the resources that you have in front of you. Sometimes people of faith talk about how in certain scriptures it talks about what's in your hands, what's in your house. So it's looking back and saying, what resources do I have available to me right now? Those resources aren't necessarily, again, physical things. You might not have $1 million, okay? You might not have a lot of time, but what do you have? Stop focusing on the things you don't have and focus on what you have. So I knew I had a laptop. My laptop had Windows Movie Maker. My laptop had Keynote on it. All right. And I was like, okay, I want to see if I can create some type of intro. Well, I started to look things up. And if you go back to some of my first videos, you'll see that there's a bit of an intro that's there. I have clips from other things. I put all the stuff together. I made that stuff myself. And it was really the idea of resourcefulness that helped me. It was the idea that, hey, I can take what I have and I can learn. I think that that's one skill set that I think is tied to resourcefulness that people don't value. Let's value our ability to learn. If you can hone in on the fact that you can learn anything, right? Like our minds are really powerful. You can create anything. There is nothing that's outside of your grasp. Now, the question is, are you willing to spend the time and or money to get there? And so here's the thing. Another portion of this is that it might not just be a facet of like what you have right now. There's also a component of the long end game, which is I know what I want ultimately. And so I'm going to be resourceful to get the tools or get the things that I need in order to get the ultimate thing that I need. So let's say you want freedom, you want financial freedom. Well, right now you might not have that financial freedom, but what do you have? You might have a job that's paying a stable fee. If you have a job that's giving you stable income, how can you use that? How can you leverage that to get you to a place where you can enjoy a little bit more financial freedom? It's almost like setting up markers and setting up areas where you're measuring, okay, this thing can get me to this step, and then this step can get me to this step. Like in my head right now, I'm thinking about somebody who has an obstacle course that they need to go through, right? And in terms of that obstacle course, you start off, if you've ever watched like The Mole or Survivor, right, they might give them a toolkit. Now, it's like using that toolkit to build the thing that gets you to the first stop, right? So maybe this toolkit has a bunch of logs. Okay, what can you do with those logs? Okay, maybe I can create a bridge or something, right? So I use the bridge to cross over the tavern that I'm kind of trying to navigate. And I get to that next stop. Okay, what's that next stop have for me there? Now I have the tools for my last thing, right? So I have this bridge, but here I'm finding that I have string. Okay, how can I utilize my string and my bridge to get to the next step? And I think that's kind of the mindset of the resourceful. It's not necessarily that I have everything that I need right now, but I know that if I take the steps incrementally, I can get the things that I need to get me to where I'm going. And it's consistently assessing what do I have now and how can I make what I have now work for me in this present stage. Oftentimes we want to have everything figured out. We want to make sure that we have all the things that we need right now. And that's just not the way life works. Like I would be lying to you if I said, okay, you're going to have all the stuff right now. No, it's a progressive journey. What you have is the skill set. What you have is the mind. Our minds are so powerful. I mean, watch a baby learning language, watch a baby learning how to walk, learning how to talk, right? Those are some of the most powerful things that we could ever encounter. And so the first trait that I think, again, that is really important, that first mindset is the mindset of the resourceful. The second trait that I think is important is the mindset of the courageous. So one of the things that I've been able to see is I've been able to watch my clients. I'll have to say this, I haven't been the most courageous at times. Sometimes I have goals in front of me, but I care about what people think, or I'm scared that I'm going to fail, and I'm scared of what's on the other end. So sometimes I lack courage, and people encourage me, and it helps me, courage, encouragement. But I have observed that with the people that I have come in contact with, the millionaires that I've served, and then the people that I've studied, so the millionaires I've studied, one thing that I have found to be a consistent characteristic, a consistent mindset, is that they're courageous. Now, many times we think that being courageous means that we don't feel afraid, but I want to drill this into all of our heads. Every entrepreneur, every attorney who's kind of out here, all the people who are here trying to figure out what's that next step. Listen, the fear that you feel means that you're human. Yeah, the fear that you feel means that you're human. It doesn't mean that you're going to fail. It doesn't mean that you're not going to succeed. It doesn't mean that you don't have what it takes. It doesn't mean any of those things. It means that you're human. And as a human, we're going to feel afraid. Anyone who tells you that you're not going to be afraid when you do things is lying to you. There's some things that I've done for years. I've been a bit of a public speaker. I speak all the time. I sing in front of people. but I still get scared like every time. Luckily the fear is not as debilitating as it used to be, right? And sometimes once I get started, it floats away, it drifts away. But because I'm a human and I'm doing something I've never done before, I have the natural feeling of fear. And so you might be starting and embarking on this journey of building your business and you don't know who to talk to. Maybe you're looking for an attorney. Maybe you're looking for somebody to help you with your branding and you're a little bit overwhelmed and you feel afraid. That doesn't mean that you're wrong. It just means you're human. And if you are cultivating the mindset of courage, it means you do it afraid. It means that even though you're scared, you don't stop. It means that you decide that I'm going to feel this fear, but I'm still going to try and stay connected to that part of me that wants this thing more than it wants comfort, right? Like, what's the thing that is pushing you towards this? Now, I'll tell you, if your thing that's pushing you to the next step is like a quick, particularly for my entrepreneurs, if the thing that's pushing you towards your next step is like a quick dollar, that's not how entrepreneurship typically works. Like, there's a lot of things that are a lot easier if you're trying to get a quick dollar than entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is not the route for a quick dollar. I just want to put that out there. Like, I occasionally I hear of people who have that quick turnaround success, but that's just not the case for the most part. Okay, that's not just from my experience, but that's from speaking with hundreds of entrepreneurs across the nation, whether they be in the legal space, whether they be in the beauty space, whether they be in the fashion space. That's not how things work, right? So I just want to put that out there. But if you are being courageous for a long-term goal, right, understanding that and saying, okay, I'm going to go in and do this afraid because I know it's worth it, it makes all the difference. And I think that's one of those mindsets that multiply, because when you're able to take resourcefulness and the courage to act and mix it together, right, that means that at every step of your life, you're progressing. At every step and every facet, you're moving forward. It might not always be as quickly as you want it to be. And it's probably not going to be as neatly as you want it to be as well, but you're moving forward. You're taking those next steps. And so as we continue on this entrepreneurial journey, I just wanted to encourage you with that. Like, you're not crazy if you feel scared, and you're not crazy if you feel like, I don't have all the things that I need right now. I want you to know that you can get the things you need if you take those steps. If you decide that you're going to cultivate a resourceful mindset and a courageous mindset, you're going to make it. It's going to be one step after another, but you're going to look back and be shocked at how far you've come. All right, that's all I've got for us today. I hope you have an amazing day and catch us back here on the channel soon. Bye.